beautiful jellyfish, it's Tracy. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Friday. Hope you guys had a pretty great week. So today I'm going to be doing Friday's feature cards, and I haven't done this in a while. I don't actually honestly remember like why I didn't film them on other Fridays. I feel like I was busy. But yeah, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of Battle for Zendikar cards. I don't want to talk that much about the set, like, to be like, hey, by the way, Gideon's amazing. You know, I don't want to say stuff like that because you guys have probably seen a lot of people being talking about Battle for Zendikar and a lot of the key cards and stuff like that. But I do like to mention these cards when I go to draft and things like that, so that I can tell you guys, like, hey, these are really cool cards if you draft or something like that. These are cards that I would definitely look out for. But, I mean, if you're not playing the set, you probably know that Gideon is really awesome. Drana is really great, too. When I had my second pre-release, I got both of them, and it was crazy. So yeah, last week I drafted Battle for Zendikar, and I drafted Nylea allies, and this set is a very interesting one to draft in terms of you kind of need to, when you draft it, pick something very early on and go with it. Because the thing about a lot of other sets is you know, if you had sort of like a set theme where you were pretty comfortable, you know, by like the second pack you were like, okay, yep, this is the direction that I'm gonna go in. But this is a pack where it's like, end of the first pack, you should probably know what you're doing. Because to go into something really late, you know, your deck can suffer because of that. So it's a set that you need to know what you're doing, and you need to commit to something very early on. And so I drafted Nylea allies, and I, about halfway through, a little bit less than halfway through, I actually got drafted I got past a Lantern Scout. And so once I saw Lantern Scout, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm going allies. I was like, this card's just very good, and I had a couple of cards before, and I had a couple landfall things and stuff like that, but I was committing myself to allies. Lantern Scout is really awesome. It's good. It's definitely a really good card that I would say to look out for. It's not absolutely essential for the ally deck, but I think it does really help. Like, if you're drafting and, you know, you're gonna commit to allies and stuff like that, and you're gonna have white, I would definitely look out for Lantern Scout. It's just a really good card. You know, the thing about allies too is very interesting with them is that they say when it or another ally enters. So even if you're not doing an ally themed deck, you can get away with running allies, but my ally synergy, let me tell you, last week was amazing. I'm not kidding you. Like, I had, I think I had 18 creatures in my deck. I think 15 out of the 18 of them were allies. My ally synergy was amazing. I was so happy. So, it was great. Like, my friends were looking at my deck and they're like, your deck is sweet. And I was like, do you ever, like, have that, like, when you draft and you have, like, a deck that people are like, I remember you drafting that deck, that was sweet. Yeah, my deck was really sweet, I was happy. Okay, cool, so a couple other cards. We have Makindi Patrol. This card is amazing. Oh my goodness, can I tell you how amazing this card is? Yes, I am going to tell you right now. This card is great. If you are drafting allies, look out for this card, because Vigilance is just so, like, something that I have found after playing Black-White Tokens in Modern. Vigilance is amazing, because people are just like, oh yeah, like, you're gonna swing with your dudes, cool, they're tapped, then I'm gonna swing with my dudes, and, you know, we'll kind of do a race and stuff like that and see, you know, who can outnumber the other person. Funny, Outnumber is in this video, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but, they're like, Vigilance is just like, I'm gonna swing, I don't really have any consequences to not swinging, and then I have blockers if I need them. It's just, like, so good. So, Makindi Patrol is really awesome, even if you just, again, get that ETB effect for when it hits. It's 3 mana for a 2/3, you can't really get better than that, it's just really sweet. Okay, then we have Firemantle Mage. This is a reason why Mardu allies are, I believe they're gonna be a thing in Standard, because this card is great. It's, okay, again, let's look at it. 3 mana for a 2/2. Creature neutral get Menace. Now, the thing that's really interesting about this set is, a lot of people will have sort of like their, you know, a lot of things to be doing in like the late game and stuff like that. And one of my things that I found that I really like doing with this set is I tend to do this, you know, I've played with the set 3 times now, and I feel like I really like to do stuff in the early game because I feel like I have an advantage. Because my early game is really good because I'm putting out these, you know, these small creatures that are really impact the board as soon as they hit, and they do really powerful things. Whereas someone else is like, I'm gonna have like Eldrazi Scions, and like, I'm gonna sack them to make a big thing, and it's like, I'm just like, no, boom, I like something having on the board immediately. Now, don't get me wrong, having that whole Eldrazi Scion round, that's totally fine. I've done it before, and I like it, but I like having this sort of like, let me do stuff early game when you're not doing anything. Firemantle Mage is amazing. It is I think it's one of the best red uncommons in the set. This is definitely a notable ally in the set. Again, even if you don't draft allies, look out for this card. If you have like a lot of things, because this card is so devastating to someone's board. You put this down and they're just like, okay, I've got one creature that I can't do anything with, so it's really good. Then we get into a sideboard card of mine, which is Boiling Earth. I'd like to have like one of these in the sideboard if you're playing red, because again, for that Eldrazi deck, you know, they've built up to it. They've got like 6. So you're just like Boiling Earth. You can awaken it too, which is really cool. By the way, I've actually found that I'm going to talk about that in another card, but Awaken, I'm actually kind of starting to like it. I didn't like it before when I saw it, but I'm actually a huge fan of it. Okay, cool. And then we have how do you pronounce this word? Tajuru Beastmaster? Okay, this is awesome. So when I was talking earlier about how, the thing about allies is that a lot of them are, you know, on the lower mana cost side. The thing is that when you're drafting, you want to have bombs. And this is something that to be honest, when I started drafting, I didn't really know, but it's okay to have things that are like 6, 7 mana. It's okay to do that. I'm not saying run 15 of creatures like that, but have a couple, like a handful of them that you run. And this is a card that I really like because it's a bomb, but it synergizes with allies really well. I actually think I don't remember if I had 2 of these in my deck. I think I did have 2 of these in my deck, and it's really good because, again, it does something immediately when it hits the board. It gives your team +1/+1, and it's a big body in and of itself. It's a 5/5. So it's really good. Then we get into a really interesting card that I actually wasn't sure how I felt about, and then I played with it, and I was like, this card is really sweet. It's called Cliffside Lookout. This card does not look that good, because a lot of people will complain it's 1 mana for a 1/1. Here's the deal, though, is yes, 1 mana for a 1/1, it's not really good, because you top deck a 1 mana 1/1 late game, and you're just like, really? I can't do anything with this. However, this card is awesome because it has that advantage of 5 mana. When you have nothing else to do with your mana, you can give your team +1/+1. So, and what I like about this too, is it's not a tap ability. So you can attack with it, and then you can give your team +1/+1, which is so great. And you can do it multiple times. Like, say for some reason you just have 10 mana and you don't know what to do with it, you can give your team +1/+1 2 times, which is sweet. And again, I really like this too because you have the option of doing it. So like, say, you know, you go into combat and you've got 5 mana open, they're like, well, how can I block in a way that, you know, how can I block in like the best way and stuff like that? Because you could potentially not do that, and then you could do something threatening, you know, with your 5 mana or whatever on your second main phase. So I really like having that option of that. I think it's, you know, I really like it also because it's a 1 mana thing. So it's really nice when you want to get like ally triggers and stuff like that off of it. It's a really good card. I really like it. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about Awaken. We have Sheer Drop. I honestly think white has the best removal in this set. I think because of Sheer Drop. It's just, well, one of the cards is because of Sheer Drop. This card is good. It's 3 mana for sorcery speed, however, the Awaken mechanic on this is really good. Like I said, I like Awaken a lot because if you need to absolutely 100% cast this on turn 3, I mean, honestly, like, I can't really think of an instance. This set is slow, so, like, you're probably going to get to 6 mana. Like, that's like, a huge advantage. But I like having the option with Awaken to potentially cast in the early game, but saving onto it and keeping it for the late game so that you can get rid of something threatening on their board. So, overall, I just really like this card a lot. Yeah. Okay, now speaking of Outnumber, we're going to be talking about Outnumber. This card is weird, but I really like it. It's like 1 mana to blow up something of yours at instant speed. That sounds like a really great day, right? Yeah, it is. Outnumber is really interesting. I like it a lot as a removal card, and I do think that it depends on the deck that you put it in, but if you are running a bunch of Eldrazi Scions and stuff like that, this card is sweet because you pop out a bunch of tokens and you're like, I've got 5 dudes, you've got 5 power, or I'm sorry, 5 toughness, let me just get rid of your thing. So, Outnumber is just really good. I like it a lot. And then we have a card that, I was so surprised how much I liked this card, and that is, Tajuru Stalwart. This card's really cool, actually. I like this a lot because it's 3 mana for me when I was playing 3 colors. It's 3 mana for a 3/4. and it's an ally. And, like, something about that 4 toughness just makes it really hard to, like, deal with, because a lot of the things in the set will get rid of, you know, something with power 3 or less, or I know there's, like, the one card, the black one, that's, like, toughness 3 or less or something like that. So yeah, it's just, it's kind of, like, a really interesting thing. Again, it's a vanilla, it doesn't really do too much, but again, it gets you that ally synergy and stuff like that. And, my whole thing with Converge is just pretty much, in my opinion, I think it's just best 3 colors. I think that a lot of the Converge stuff, a lot of people are like, it's not that good, but I was like, if you can pull it off and you have, like, mana fixing, you're in really good shape. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I had more stuff to talk to you guys about, but I was like, I don't really, it was stuff that I played with, like, when the set first came out, and that was like a month ago, and I was like, I don't really want to talk to you guys too much about that. So those are cards I drafted last week that I thought were really, really cool, so I wanted to talk to you guys about that. Then we're going to be moving on to EDH land, and I want to tell you guys a funny story. So we were talking about EDH decks, and one of my friends said to me, Tracy, I didn't know you had any other EDH decks because all you play is Tasigur. And I was like, I'm sorry, I really like Tasigur a lot. And I didn't mean to be playing Tasigur so much. I did a lot of edits with the deck and stuff like that, and I really, really like it. It's like become my favorite EDH deck. And I didn't mean to be neglecting my other decks or anything like that. I really like Tasigur a lot, and so I wanted to play it. But I had left at home my Yisan the Wanderer Bard deck. This is a mono green deck, and I love this deck. Oh my gosh, I have missed this deck so much. And I was playing it, and I changed the deck up a little bit. I made it revolved more around like +1/+1 counters and stuff like that. So it's a really cool deck. I am going to be doing a deck check on it once I get things figured out. I have to get a couple more cards for it and stuff like that, so I should be getting those soon. So, but yeah, it's revolved around +1/+1 counters, and basically, I'm gonna do a deck check on it, so I don't want to get too much into these cards, but I do want to mention them because they're really awesome. The first card I want to talk to you guys about is Woodland Bellower, and this card is just great because it's like, in this deck, you Yisan for it, and you get Woodland Bellower onto the field, and it's a 6/5. Then you're like, and then I'm gonna play Ewit, and then I'm gonna get back something from my graveyard that comes back to the battlefield. It's just like, wait, does Eternal Witness come to the battlefield with your hand? Oh my goodness. I don't know what that face was. I am totally blanking right now, and if this comes, it goes to your hand or to the battlefield? Oh, it goes to your hand. Oh, okay. Eternal Witness is still really great, though. But yeah, it's really good because it's like, I don't even think I run any legendary creatures in this deck, so I can get anything with this. And something that I really like with this deck, and when I do my deck check on it, I'll talk more about it, but the thing about Yisan is so flexible because you run such an array of cards where you're like, I'm gonna pull this because this is the card that I need at this moment, which is a segue into my next point, which is called this card called Conclave Naturalist. I love this card. It is Reclamation Sage, but it has more power and toughness, basically, and I run both of them, and you're playing EDH, people run artifacts and enchantments, and you're like, I don't like that, so that card is just really, really good. Cool. And then we have Nylea, and just, like, Trample is just, like, really good. And, like, if you don't have anything to do with your mana, you're like, I'm just gonna buff my team. That sounds like a great day. And she's indestructible, so they're like, I can't destroy it, and it's a good day. And the last card, and my friend absolutely hates this card because it's really good. It's Bellowing Tanglewurm. And basically, if you are playing mono green EDH, may I recommend you this card? This card is amazing because it's like, you've got all those blockers, cool story bro, my stuff's got Intimidate, and then your opponent's just like, yep, and you're like, yes. So it's really, really good. So, yeah, those were a couple cards. I didn't want to mention too many of them. Like I said, once I do my deck check on it, I'll like get more in depth and stuff like that into the deck, but I missed it so much, and I'm so happy to be playing it again. I left it at home because I was so focused on modern cards, but like I've come to this point where it's just like, I just need a couple more cards for this and stuff, and I'm really excited about it. I gotta re-edit and figure out all that stuff, but yeah. Okay, now, I do have to mention Tasigur because I'm so happy with this deck. Like, it makes me really happy. It's so fun, and I love it, and I edited a couple cards in it, and, yeah. So the first card, and it's just Demonic Tutor. Like, if you just have like $20 laying around and you're like, I really want to buy a cool magic card that's black, just like Demonic Tutor may I recommend you, because it's just so good. And like the thing too about Tajuru is you just draw a lot of cards and then it's just any card and you don't have to reveal it and it's 2 mana and it's just like amazing, and this card is just so good. And like there's a reason that it's $20 because it's just like, what? I really like tutoring. I like looking through my deck and finding something that I want and putting it into my hand. And this card's just so good. And the thing too that makes me really sad about Tajuru is that my favorite Planeswalker in terms of like my favorite Planeswalker actual card, and I mean, too, I like her character, but Liliana is just like, she's bae. I love Liliana. I really like Jace a lot too. Everyone hates on Jace and I feel so bad. If you are curious about Jace's story, you should read his book, Agents of Artifice or whatever it is. It's actually a really, it's an okay book, but Jace's character is actually like really interesting in there, and he's really not a jerk. Like he's really, people just don't understand Jace's character. Frustrates me. So Liliana Vest, yeah. So I run Liliana Vest basically in everything that I can because she's like my favorite Planeswalker, because she's a tutor and a Planeswalker. She's just so good. But the thing is about this deck is that I'm milling a lot, so putting something on top of my deck is not really the thing that I want to be doing. So I'm kind of like, well, I don't really want to do that. So I took Liliana Vest out of the deck, and it makes me sad because I love her, but I took it out of the deck, and then I was like, it's okay, I have Demonic Tutor, so it's fine. And it's got Liliana on it, because that's my favorite art, because I don't like the other art. I don't like the old art. I don't like it. And then I got the ult off of the new Kiora. Let me tell you something, that was a great day. She's so good. Like, she is so good, and I'm so happy that I have her for this deck. It's just like, it's like mana, and then it's like it's untapped creatures, so I have things for blockers and stuff like that. So I can protect Kiora, which is really cool. Then her neg 2 is just really good in Sultai decks. I mean, I think just in general, because it's like, okay, cool, I get a creature or a land, which is really important. And the rest into the graveyard, which is really sweet, so it's a way to mill yourself, which is awesome. And the emblem is just like octopi? I want octopi. Like, come on, that's like so great. Like, she's so cool. So, yeah, Kiora, the new Kiora is just really awesome. And, when I build Super Friends, I'm gonna put her in there. Did I tell you guys I'm building Super Friends? I'm building 5-color Super Friends. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a great day. I'm gonna be like playing Planeswalkers, and I'm gonna be ulting them like the turn I play them, and it's gonna be great, and people are gonna hate me, and it's gonna be awesome. How do you know you're playing EDH right if people don't like you when you're playing? Yeah, basically. Alright guys, that was it. That was it for Friday's feature cards. Yeah, I am drafting Battle for Zendikar tonight, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I was at this point when I was drafting Origins where I didn't want to draft blue because I felt like I drafted blue a couple drafts in a row, and I'm not one of those people who's like, I only ever draft X. Like, I am the type of person where it's like, hey, I'll just draft whatever the cards I get. You know, like, that's my whole kind of thing. And I think that's how you should do it. Like, to be like, oh, I'm notorious for drafting this. It's like, no, it's just like, just draft whatever good cards you get. So I'm kind of, my whole thing though is I feel like I've had red in a bunch of my drafts, and I kind of don't want to play red, but like, again, I can't say I don't want to play red. It's like, you know, do you guys ever have that? If you guys ever have that, let me know. Yeah. What else can I tell you guys? What did I do today? I got my test back for one of my classes, and I was really worried about it. Then I got a B-, and it was pretty okay. Like, I didn't do well on short answer. I can't do short answers / multiple choice well at all. I'm a really good essay writer. I'm an English major, so I'm a really good essay writer. And, like, I did really well in the essay, and then I just didn't do well in the short answer. But it's okay, because I got a B-, it's fine. So that was that. And then also, I don't know what happened, but on Thursday I had a test, and the night before I was like, yes, I'm so gonna study for that, but I forgot, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, I almost didn't go to class because I was like really tired that morning, and I was like, yeah, I just won't go, but then I went to class, of course, because I'm a good student. And I get there, and my professor hands me a sheet of paper, and I'm thinking, what, why are you handing me things? And I was like, oh my goodness, I have a test right now. And then, like, I sat down, and then I took the test, And I did well, actually. I didn't get it back yet, but I was like, yeah, I'm feeling really confident. And you know when you look at a question, you're like, I literally cannot remember anything about this? There's one question like that, but like, given it was 1 out of 8, so it's not too bad, but yeah, and I've gotten like A's on like everything else in the class, so it's like, fine. I love this professor. She's great. She's a really good teacher, so yeah, so I did that. And yeah, so yeah, I think that should be totally fine. I didn't study, I didn't prepare, I had no idea what was going to be on it, I forgot, and I still did pretty okay, so that's, I like it when that happens. What else can I say? Yeah, I had actually a decent week. If you watched one of my videos, guy that I was with broke up with me on Monday, but I actually had a really good week. Like, I really focused on, like, the positive stuff, and I had really great conversations with people. Like, I had a really good 4-hour conversation with one of my friends that, like, we didn't really, we knew each other and we were friends, but, like, we didn't really talk that much a lot, and we had, like, a really good conversation on a Wednesday night, and it was great. I was, like, doing my homework, and I was talking to him, and it was really awesome, and, like, he was talking about, we were talking about our first impressions of each other, and this was when I went to when I top 8'd at the PPTQ in July, and his first impression of me was we sit down, and he's playing Goryo's Vengeance, and I didn't prepare at all for the matchup, because again, I was getting into Modern, I didn't really know, so it's kind of like, it's scary. They're like Grizzlebrand on turn 2, and you're just like, okay. I feel like I say that, but then I played Bloom, and I was like, turn 2 Primeval Titan, and it was great. But anyways, so we were talking about it, and he was like, I don't even remember what you're saying, but I was like, oh yeah, that was like your first impression of me. And he was like, my first impression of you was that you were really adorable, and then I was like, oh, this girl's really cute, and then you just completely tore me apart. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. But yeah. So, yeah, I think that's it. I feel like there's more things. I feel like I say that all the time. There's more things that I want to say, and then I just can't. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.